So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, world over, wherever you are. We extend a very hearty welcome to all our brothers and sisters. Those are joining from world over, from different countries, different continents. We hope that you all are taking care of yourself. And at the same time, we convey each one of you a green morning, green afternoon, and green evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is passing through a very difficult times at this point of time. And we recently heard from India that there may be a second wave also of the corona, this particular pandemic. So this morning, we all share with each other the next in the series. Today is a 142. That means 141 webinars have already been held, and today's 142 webinar, and that is making education relevant. And that is when we talk about making education relevant during this pandemic, what exactly is the purpose? Why are we talking about making education relevant anyway? Before I come on to that, where we have got the global confluence of the educators, motivators, corporate, research scholars, innovators, skill developers, entrepreneurs, startups, micro, small and medium enterprise, employment providers, and at the same time, the strategist who gives us the vision, what exactly is to be done. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 1.86 billion, 1.86 billion children are at present away from schools, colleges, institutions, universities. So education is deeply affected at this point of time. This evening, I'll be sharing initially few slides with you. And we have got a very distinguished guest, Mr.ABHINAV JAIN, who is the co-founder, ATechnos and Almond, who will be sharing his vision and his entire journey. And he is going to talk a lot with us, what exactly youngster can do, what could be the new startups, what could be new entrepreneurship ventures, how India's new education policy, which is coming, it will open new things, what acumen or skills are required, prerequisites are required in case if you want to become entrepreneur. And today's millennial, those are born with the gadgets, electronic gadgets and technology revolution. When we are talking about, he will also share with us how the technology is going to play very important role for all of us. So ladies and gentlemen, while starting this particular evening, let me share, and initially while extending a very hearty welcome to all of you, I wish to convey right over here that our chamber, International Chamber for Service Industry, ICSI, since 1994, it's operational. So when you have got about a 26 years long journey, in India, initially you used to have Punjabi Parvasi Divas. That means the non-resident Indians, those have gone abroad, how their confluence, their potluck, their get-togethers, and taking what permutation combinations to be done world over with the help of this particular community. And in 2003, then the Honorable Prime Minister of India gave the vision to start Bharatiya Parvasi Divas. Punjabi Parvasi Divas used to be held on 13th of January. That's a Lodi festival. And thereafter, he gave the vision, let's have Bharatiya Parvasi Divas on 9th of January, because Mahatma Gandhi ji returned from South Africa to India on 9th of January. And that was the birth when the Bharatiya Parvasi Divas started in India. So ladies and gentlemen, during this pandemic, when we wish that you all take care of your health, your wellness, your family, your brothers, sisters, your friends, your neighbors, your community, take care of everybody the best possible way. And we are going to talk about, when I'm sharing that during this lockdown, the thought processes are affected. Business is deeply affected. Physical and mental health challenges are there. And the main part of the university is the education is deeply affected. And that's why we have got this series, Making Education Relevant. Because the education has come out of the four walls now. It has come out of the classroom. Now there is a digital, there is a flip mode, there's a blended mode, there's a technology-based education, and everything is becoming transparent, where the world over teachers, educators, because they're also warriors in their own way, they're trying to reach out the children wherever it's possible. So ladies and gentlemen, from India, the soil of India, the ancient India, जिसको पुराना पूरी पूर्वजों के वेदों के ज्ञान वाले भारत की बातचीत करते हैं तो कहते हैं वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. When you say Vasudev Kutumbakam, that means the entire world is one family, one love. Your happiness is everybody's happiness, and your pain is our pain. That's the way the ancient India, the oldest civilization, when we talk about world over. So Vasudev Kutumbakam. Heartiest congratulations to Honorable Prime Minister of India and to the Education Minister of India and all the stakeholders, those are with the education system, because the new education policy has been announced in India on 29th of July. Beautiful beginning, because it's going to change the total paradigm. It's going to change the whole pedagogy and pedagogy and the creativity, the confluence. And imagine the coding will come from 6th class, internship, vocational, visit to the corporate houses, corporate coming to school, colleges, institution, skills, competencies. Everything is going to be practical, practical, and practical. And nothing could have been much better when Asha Bhosle ji, the legend, the vocals, when you talk about India, she congratulated the entire Indian government the other day when this policy was announced, because for the first time, no tight compartments of arts, commerce, and science, and everybody taking your education together. People, those are in science, they can take music. Those are in commerce, they can take fashion designing. Imagine now every child can live their dream, fulfill their dream. At the age of 70, I can only pray to Almighty, if the God meets me once, I would tell, can you make me 15 years old once again so that I can join the school? So ladies and gentlemen, India has to become the knowledge superpower. भारत विश्व गुरु था. नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी में पीछे मुड़ के देखें. So can you imagine the world first residential university? Takshila was not residential. Nalanda University, when I talk about 10,000 students, 2,000 acharyas, imagine all subjects were being taught over there. How much was the research, innovation, creativity, collaboration? That all was happening in this particular country. The unfortunate part, the entire education system of India, that was run down, and there was, I do not want to get into the historical perspective because the objective is different, aim is different, and on a very positive note, we would like to share with all of you, Monday to Sunday, yes, you heard rightly, I'm not talking about Monday to Friday, I'm talking about Monday to Sunday, all the 7 days of the week, 7 to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. We talk to you heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind, vision to vision, with new kind of a creativity. Every evening you get one distinguished speaker, one distinguished guest, who he or she shares their vision. What can they do to the humanity? How can they empower? And how can we all remain positive during this particular difficult moment? And when no anxiety, no stress, no depression, difficulties will come. प्रकृति की देन है, जब तक संसार रहेगा दुख तकलीफ प्रॉब्लम सब कुछ रहेगा. बुद्धा कहा करते थे, well, the pain is the part of the life, you got to think about that way. So ladies and gentlemen, making education relevant. So when we talk about it, how to make education relevant, what is the purpose of education, why child should go to school, why child should go to college, why they should go to university? Is it only meeting friends? It's only socializing? It's only just gossiping, meeting, and treating and eating, and just little laughters and happiness? Is that the purpose of education? So, somewhere we have to discover, and everybody has to understand, what is the purpose of education? Is education for living, or is education for life? Is education for living, or is education for life management? Is IQ more important, or is EQ more important? If you don't have empathy, if you don't have emotions, a lot of people world over, they have got all facilities, all gadgets, every comfort they have got, but they are not happy. They are not happy. Why they are not happy? Something is missing, and that we got to get from Indian Vedas and Rishis and whatever we want to talk about. Today, everything technology is giving. Now, today is the last day we are sharing this information with you on Facebook. From tomorrow, all the programs in future will be direct live telecast. Like today is a live telecast on a Facebook today, but from tomorrow onward, all the programs, they will be coming live to you straight away, that is on YouTube, so that no editing, and whatsoever we discuss and deliberate right over here, that will go live to the whole world. And everybody whosoever is participating in this webinar, you can send, like you send now in the likings down below when you open your chat parties, when you open the Facebook account of Dr. Gulshan Sharma. So this particular program, as it is going live today on the Facebook, from tomorrow you'll be able to have that program on the YouTube live directly. So I just thought I should share with all of you. So आइए शिक्षा को प्रासंगिक बनाएं. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about education, when we talk about making education relevant, when we have gathered these statistics and some inputs and some research inputs from the world over, almost about 149 countries inputs which has come, the next misunderstanding, the next crisis, the next, I think, tragedy the world over, that's going to be based on water sharing. We got to save every drop of water. If we do not save water, the world is going to have biggest crisis on this planet. It will be very difficult. Like oxygen, which you inhale in your body, is very important. And you always do yoga, meditation, naturopathy, and whatsoever is to have more and more oxygen in and energy to your body. Water is very essential. जल ही जीवन है. एक एक जल के बूंद की बचाना है, और जल ही कल है. Jal sanrakshan is very important. Water conservation is very important, and that's why we get every day five girls every day in the evening. They come from different institutions from world over, and they join us and they share their vision with us. Ladies and gentlemen, women empowerment is very important. When you educate a boy or a male member, you are educating individual, single person. But when you are educating female child, girl child, imagine how many subsequent generations you are empowering. So we got to respect, we got to honor, we got to give the equal status, and we got to encourage more and more girls taking the education. Parents, those are not sending their girls school, I would make a humble request to all of you. Please, education is the only thing, education is the most important thing which you can provide to your children. Don't give anything else. Give them quality education, need-based education, desirable education, quality education. That is something very important. Now, 15th of July, that was basically Youth Skills Day. And when it was celebrated in India, that day we started a new program. And this program is also part of that strategy. It was a YES program. YES is Youth Empowerment Strategies. When you talk about youth empowerment strategies, this evening, I would like to make a humble appeal, and I would like to share with all parents, all my brothers and sisters, those are in education fraternity, all principals, all directors, vice chancellors, everybody, we all got to understand the education is now learning centric. You got to understand these millennials, these young kids today, those are born with the gadgets. They are bombarded with so much of information. There is no shortage of information. One life is not sufficient to go through one subject with Google Baba. So much of information is available. Children do not need information anymore. You just become the facilitator. And at the same time, encourage these kids, encourage these children, these youngsters, and listen to them. Let them come out with creative ideas. Innovation is very important. Research is very important. So thereby, what does youth want? Monday to Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. Like tomorrow, you'll be having a different program. Today is Thursday. So I'm emphasizing over here, Monday to Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. It's a pure, whosoever is joining for this particular program, that comes on that. And tomorrow on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, you will be meeting the galaxy of 500 million plus Buddhism followers world over in different continents, in different countries. My deep regards and gratitudes to Venerable Dr. Dhamma Piyaji, who is the Secretary General of International Buddhist Confederation. He is the one who is getting the stakeholder from the world over, and all the people are getting together on a common platform. So tomorrow, don't forget to join at 7 p.m. And what is Buddha's philosophy and Buddha's teaching in today's education system once again. And then comes Saturday. We want music, we want happiness. And when we talk about yoga, meditation, naturopathy, happy living, happy thought process, positive thought process, organic food, cultivate organic food. Start your day early in the morning with aloe vera and galoy. I take every day in the morning. And that's why at the age of 70, my energy is that of 20-year-old boy. Vegetarian, teetotaler, non-smoker, positive thoughts, getting up at 3:30 and sleeping after this webinar. Regulate your life. You will live long, you will live happy, and you will not create problems, because when you fall sick, it's not only you who falls sick and has a pain, rather the whole family gets into a pain, because everybody has to take care of you, everybody has to be concerned about you, everybody has to devote time for you extra, and which can be avoided. We all can live happily. I would request you, wherever you are, even when you are watching this particular program, get up in your room, start doing some aerobics, and enjoy this particular program also. If you want to do yoga while doing this particular program, do it. If you have got a little space to walk in your room, walk in that room, no problems. But please, positive, positive, positive. So we all got to remain positive during this pandemic. Then comes Sunday morning, ladies and gentlemen. We start at 9:30 in the morning. Vidya se Adhyatam Vidya ki Aur, an integrative series of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and 10 principal Upanishad. When we talk about, ladies and gentlemen, on Sunday morning we get Professor Satendra Dhiman all the way from the Woodbury University, 9:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time till 11 o'clock before you go for Honorable Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat in India. He comes from Woodbury University, Burbank, California, and he shares with us. Enjoy, and then you will be proud of it. What a culture, what a heritage, what is India's ancient values, what India was, and what people have done to India, why India lost that glory. And can you imagine what was the GDP of Assam at that point of time? Before, I do not want to get into the historical perspectives, but I would like to request each one of you, please go through some of the YouTube and TED Talks and everything, and try and understand and try and know that you should be proud to be an Indian. आपको गर्व होना चाहिए कि आप भारतीय हैं. आपको इस बात का फख्र होना चाहिए कि आप भारत की भूमि पर, भारत की धरती पर पैदा हुए हैं, क्योंकि India is a beautiful civilization and it has always given so much to the world, and that's why again and again we call about Vasudev Kutumbakam. हर एक बच्चे को चाहिए, because then only you will come to know. Because when you talk about purely the Western education, it is basically to take you away from your culture. It is to take you away from your customs, tradition, values, cuisine, and what you see today is, is altogether different. Sometime you do not know how many languages are spoken in India, how many cuisines are in India, how many cultural, festivals are there in India, how many costumes are there in India, what all music rhythms are there in India. You got to be proud of soil of India, and that's what India is. Each one of us, we should be proud of us. Those are linked with India directly or indirectly. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Then we come on Sunday evening, that is 5 p.m., when we take you from India to ASEAN, all the 10 beautiful countries what we have got over there, and from those 10 countries people join us, and we are so grateful to all of them. So let me give you a little journey when I'm talking about this. I'm thankful to the people, those who have joined this morning from Canada, from United States, from Latin America, post-lunch people, those who have joined from Europe, and little ahead of that, those who have taken their tea, and those who have joined us from Central Asia, those who have taken their tea and coffee, and those are joining us from Bhutan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and then of course I'm taking you ahead. People, those are having their dinner or they're having their soup or they're preparing for the late evening, that is in ASEAN, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, 10 beautiful countries, 650 million population. These people are wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of deliberations are going on nowadays between India and ASEAN with regard to free trade agreement. So our president is also at present based in Thailand. Our immediate past president is from America, and our future president is going to be from Malaysia. So let me move in this particular journey. We are proud of Sunday evening. Sunday got to be more productive. We start Sunday morning, I told you 9:30. Then we come at 5 o'clock, that is ASEAN, and Sunday evening. If you are already having your business, if you're already an entrepreneur, if you're into micro, small, and medium enterprise, you want to enhance your business, you want to upgrade your business, you want to go to the higher level of your business, then we bring to you under the dynamic and dedicated leadership of Shri Ravindranath Ji. He's a former CMD of the NSIC, that is under the aegis of Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise. He brings a lot of expertise, lot of vision, and I'm proud of him. He does so much of homework the whole week so that Sunday evening, everybody is facilitated and we learn from each other. I'm your student and I'm his student, and similar way, all the stakeholders, all the speakers, those come in this program, we are a student of each other. We learn from each other. So ladies and gentlemen, those want to have startup, those want to become entrepreneur. If you're a woman, you want to go in stand-up, you want to come in Make in India, or you want to come in Assemble in India, you want to understand from any part of the globe, from any continent, any country, on the micro, small and medium enterprise, because this is the backbone of the economy, not only of India, but the world over. You've got to take care of micro, small and medium enterprise. So do join us Sunday evening at 7 p.m. But I have shared with you from the coming Sunday, we will be on the YouTube, not on the Facebook. I'm repeating that again. So this is the startup, micro, small and medium enterprise. And here is the website. If you go on this particular portal, you will be able to get a lot of information over there. Try and get maximum information, what all you need. And all the speakers, all my distinguished guests, those are coming here. Like yesterday, speaker, Dr. Dakar, he gave valuable inputs that how the entire information has to be put at one place. So many valuable inputs are coming up. So this coming Sunday, under the leadership of Ravindranath Ji, we will be trying and bringing something new for all of you. We'll try and work out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud of Sector Skill Council, Management and Entrepreneurship and Professional Skill Council under the aegis of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, under the dynamic leadership of CEO Colonel Anil Kumar Pokhriyal, and along with him Santosh Kumar Ji. They're doing wonderful job. Right over here, you have got this Sector Skill Council website also. You can log on, you can see, because when you look at the website of Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship, future is entrepreneurship. Artificial intelligence is coming like a tsunami. Lot of job roles are going to change. And sometimes I wonder, more and more YouTube and more TED Talks and more webinars, when we see whatsoever we are teaching today, what relevance it will hold after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, after 20 years. So all that has to be taken. Speed is very important. We got to understand. Colleges, universities, institutions, they got to match the speed of the requirement of the corporate sector. What are they looking forward to? If we do not get the speed, and if we keep teaching in a traditional way and imparting that curriculum which becomes obsolete and obsolescent, there will be a lot of problems. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our chamber, ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, from morning 9 a.m. till evening 9, that is 12 hours non-stop delivery. Anywhere in the world, wherever you are, should you need any kind of a support, if any teacher, any youth, any person needs any kind of a support, at the end of this presentation, we'll share our email also. You can write to us. we would be more than happy. And from 25th of March to 31st of August when we come, this is the research and synthesis which we have gathered from the whole world, which we wish to share with all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Golden Triangle is not going to be Delhi, Agra, Jaipur anymore. Domestic tourism has to take a seat now. It is not inbound tourism, international tourism, and people traveling out of the country, because you've got to be taken care of. Nobody knows when the vaccine will come. Nobody knows when the corona will get over. Nobody knows the second wave is coming or not. I do not know. A lot of information is pouring in. As the information is pouring in, I'm sharing with all of you. Second part, the B2B, what was termed earlier as business to business, now you've got to understand it is called back to basics of life. It's no more business to business, back to basics. So when you talk about back to basics, so let's come to the basics. First basic requirement is cater for your food. अपने घर में सब्जी उगाइए, जहां भी आप रहते हैं, आपके घर की छत पर, आपके घर के आंगन में, आपके घर में कोई भी कोना, किसी भी जगह, कोई भी जगह अवेलेबल है, वहां पर सब्जी उगा दीजिए। ऑर्गेनिक सब्जी खाइए, उसका टेस्ट देखिए और फिर अपने दिमाग की पॉजिटिविटी और अपनी ऑक्सीजन को देखिए। Healthy food, nutritious food is very important. If you remember, Man Ki Baat, Honorable Prime Minister of India talked about nutrition and nutrition value. Now, second part, हम लोग जिम में जाते हैं, हम लोग 99% टाइम अपनी बॉडी पे डिवोट करते हैं, शीशे में बार बार देखते हैं हम कितने सुंदर लग रहे हैं, कितने स्मार्ट लग रहे हैं, हमारे क्या पैक्स हैं, हम क्रीमें लगाते हैं, सब कुछ करते हैं। अरे, यू गॉट टू बी मेंटली रॉबस्ट, यू गॉट टू बी मेंटली स्ट्रांग. If we start devoting little time on our mental robustness, that's why the people those join armed forces, army, navy, air force, paramedical and territorial army, first they are made mentally tough. It is very important, which you have to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, your wellness and your health is in your own hands. You've got to be mentally strong. If you'll be mentally strong, you can overcome many difficulties. You never know who has got what problem, how much problem. You cannot quantify, you can only express. But at the same time, if you're mentally strong, you'll overcome all difficulties of your life. And the third part, education will never ever get back to what it used to be in January and February. Education is going to get to the new modes now. That's a technology-based digital mode. We all got to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is a very important day. I wish to share with all of you. Please spread the message as much as you can. Kindly, you will be doing the great service to the humanity. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, is a very historic day because Swami Vivekananda ji gave the iconic speech in Chicago on 11th of September 1893. You got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, what was that when the whole world, everybody whosoever was sitting over there, they rose to their places when he started. Sisters and brothers of the universe, of America. Oh my God, everybody got up and there was a thunder of clapping, and what a celebration over there. Swami Vivekananda ji's call to the youth today from the World Parliament of Religion, Chicago, 1893. Tomorrow is a very, very important day. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow evening, don't forget to join us for a special program at 5 p.m. It's a 1-hour program before our regular 7 p.m. program. Tomorrow you are going to have, and my request to you, you'll be doing great service to the humanity. Those are watching us from the world over in the different groups, on the Facebook, on the watch party. Those are in this webinar. You will be doing a great service to the humanity. If you have got your soul, if you have got your spirit, if you love India, if you want to see India rising, if you want India to become Vishwaguru once again, then I would make a humble appeal. This 70-year-old person would like to make a request. मुझे अपने लिए कुछ नहीं चाहिए, मुझे आपसे अपने लिए कुछ नहीं चाहिए. और बार बार एक ही बात याद आती है, मणिकर्णिका का, कंगना रनावत का गाना, वो बड़ा अच्छा है जो मैं बार बार सुनता हूँ, क्योंकि म्यूजिक इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर आईज, ईयर्स, माइंड, सोल, स्पिरिट बहुत जरूरी है। देश से है प्यार तो, देश से है प्यार तो हर पल ये कहना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं भारत ये रहना चाहिए। सिलसिला ये बात मेरे यूं ही चलना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं भारत ये रहना चाहिए। Tomorrow is a very important day. You do not know what service you will render to the humanity. At this point of time during lockdown, बहुत सारे लोगों को एंजाइटी है, बहुत सारे लोगों को डिप्रेशन है, बहुत सारे लोगों को स्ट्रेस है। Tomorrow evening, we want to remove that. आप बहुत बड़ी सेवा करेंगे, आप बहुत बड़ी सर्विस करेंगे, आप किसी को कुछ मत दीजिए, सिर्फ इस कल के प्रोग्राम को सबके साथ शेयर कीजिए और सबको बताइए वर्ल्ड ओवर से कि हम लोग 5 बजे कल स्वामी विवेकानंद जी की आइकॉनिक स्पीच जो शिकागो में डिलीवर हुई थी, उसकी पूरी चीज को लेते हुए कल 11th सितंबर को शाम को 5 बजे, tomorrow evening, ladies and gentlemen, we will be having. Now, every evening from world over, we get 5 kids, we get 5 children, and these 5 kids are the one, those come from world over. These are the 5-star of every evening. And today's evening, ladies and gentlemen, I have got Rajeshri, I've got Karnika, I've got Dharani, I've got Kavaya Shri, and I have got Kavya. Ladies and gentlemen, these 5 children, these 5 kids of mine from world over, from the global fraternity, from the humanity, they talk to us after the main speaker delivers his talk. They talk us on, they talk and share the ideas with us, how to do the water saving, how to save every drop of the water. I'm proud of Colonel K.C. Menon in India, who is a wonderful soul. He has dedicated after his retirement his life to hospitality. He was with the ITC group. From there, he moved to ICSI, and he's taking care of the entire southern part of India at present. When you think about India, he's the gentleman who is getting these stars, these celebrities, and these kids from the world over. Yesterday we had a girl from Bahrain. Day before yesterday we had a girl from Saudi Arabia. Excuse me. So every day we are getting the global speakers coming from different countries. So Colonel K.C. Menon, his cell number is also given here. His email address is also given over here. Should you wish to become a part of just giving your vision, sharing your thought process, how to save water, then he is the person, ladies and gentlemen, and you should write to him, get across to him. So ladies and gentlemen, this evening is a wonderful evening. It's a very rewarding evening, and we are privileged this evening, all of us. We have got Mr. Abhinav Jain with us. We extend him a very hearty welcome on behalf of International Chamber for Service Industry, on behalf of all my brothers and sisters, those are joining from world over, whatever time zone you are in. I'm so grateful to you. Dr. Christie, you are in Taiwan and you join from there. And Sankal, you're sitting at present in Korea and you join from Seoul. Geeta Chopra ma'am, with your husband Rajneesh, you join us from Bahrain. At the same time, a lot of other people from world over, those are joining me. I extend a very hearty welcome on behalf of my entire team, which is putting this evening, every evening together for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Abhinav Jain, he is the MD and he's the co-founder of ATechnos, which was established 8 years back. Mr. Abhinav Jain is a technologist turned marketer. So it's very interesting. He is taking care of technology also, and he will give you some inputs toward marketing also. He started ATechnos. It's a 100 people strong digital platform. It is for transforming think tank in 2012. He had an analytics experience of 14+ years with a hands-on last mile digital O2O and marketing technology. Mr. Abhinav Jain excels in using basic technologies to solve real marketing problems and enable digital activation with data transparency. He's also the motto of ATechnos Digital arm, which has worked for various integrated digital projects for brands like Coca-Cola, GSK, PMO Govt India, wow, UNICEF, NACO, and Nestle, RB, GPI, to name a few. At PlaceIQ, a location-based consumer insights and marketing technology company, Abhinav ji, he was responsible for PlaceIQ's flagship product, consumer insights platform that connects the dots between brands and the consumers. At JetBlue Airways, as a business partner, Abhinav ji was instrumental in keying with consumer marketing teams. As a marketing, data, and business intelligence consultant, Abhinav ji, he traveled across the world and lived in 15 plus cities and 8 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to have this gentleman this evening. Before we hand you over, because always you must have seen like it happens into these celebrities, and they always say, ladies and gentlemen, who is the star of the evening? And the best award goes to such and such. I would like to tell Mr. Abhinav Jain that our platform, this non-resident Indians platform, we do not want to work in a traditional way. We always believe in innovation, creativity, and every day we think something new has to happen. During this pandemic and coronavirus, we have come out with, when India has announced its new education policy, we have come out with a beautiful 2.5-minute song, which is music therapy is very important. My wife always tells me, don't say therapy, but well, you got to understand in a positive way, because it gives a lot of positivity to your nerves, to your system. Happiness is very important, ladies and gentlemen. 2.5 minutes, we give you our Chambers innovation through Mr. Sumit, who has written the song for us, who has developed the song for us, who has given the music for this song, and who has also sung this song. We bring to all of you this evening 2.5 minutes, how India has to become Vishwaguru once again, and that I wish to, share with all of you. Here is the song which we dedicate to the whole world. People, those are joining us from different countries. Let's go with the notes, and thereafter we go to our today's speaker.
विश्व गुरु बनना है भारत, भारत का सम्मान करो। विश्व गुरु बनना है भारत, भारत का सम्मान करो। शिक्षा के पथ पे आगे बढ़कर, शिक्षा के पथ पे आगे बढ़कर सबका ही कल्याण करो। भारत का सम्मान करो, भारत का सम्मान करो। आर्यभट्ट से उज्जवल शिक्षक पूर्ण जगत में छा जाओ। आर्यभट्ट से उज्जवल शिक्षक पूर्ण जगत में छा जाओ, श्रेष्ठ वर्ग के तारे बनकर अपना नाम भी चमकाओ। विश्व गुरु बनना है भारत, भारत का सम्मान करो। विश्व गुरु बनना है भारत, भारत का सम्मान करो। शिक्षा के पथ पे आगे बढ़कर, शिक्षा के पथ पे आगे बढ़कर सबका ही कल्याण करो। शंखनाद से सकल जगत में गौरवमय गुणगान करो। गगन कल्पना एपीजे कलाम और भगत सिंह बन जाओ, साहस भर के झांसी जैसा जीवन का बलिदान करो। गगन कल्पना एपीजे कलाम और भगत सिंह बन जाओ, साहस भर के झांसी जैसा जीवन का बलिदान करो। विश्व गुरु बनना है भारत, भारत का सम्मान करो। विश्व गुरु बनना है भारत, भारत का सम्मान करो। भारत का सम्मान करो, भारत का सम्मान करो, भारत का सम्मान करो, भारत का सम्मान करो।
So, ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure, what a beautiful notes coming from Sumit ji with regard to this particular song, which we thought we should share with all of you. And with these words, I extend a very hearty welcome to our distinguished guest, Mr. Abhinav Jain ji, to take on. And now the globe is yours, continents are yours, world is yours, NRIs are yours, and give the best to the universe from your side, whatsoever you would like to give. Abhinav Jain ji.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Thank you so much for the enlightenment. In fact, before this call, I was not even aware of a lot of information that you have shared. And in fact, I went through a couple of websites as you were speaking, because not just for me, but it is also very important for my company, as you have already introduced me. Thank you for your kind words. We are 100 people also team. But a lot of things that people don't know about me is that I lived in US for almost 8.5 years before coming back to India. One fine day, my brother, who is also one of the co-founder of our company, Apur Modi, and he just told me that, you know, sometimes we underestimate the power of our own community. And when we realize that, then the potential is used. I worked for companies which are the world's top corporates, Dell, Citrix, JetBlue Airways, to name a few. I worked at very small startups. Like when I was at PlaceIQ, they were 8,500 people team. Then I worked as a consultant as well for a couple of companies. What I learned is that 20% of their customers or clients give the 80% of business, which is a very standard if you look at the way to look at businesses. But the other 80% are also equally important, because you never know when someone from those 80% will turn out to be one of your 20%. So what we call it is the bottom. right? And if we look at something that, if we are looking at India as a country, then there is a, if I have to divide the entire country, there is, of course, tier one cities or metro cities, which is what we call uh, urban. Then you have something which is half metro and half rural, something which we have started calling called rurban. And then you have rural. Now, I'm going to talk about something because you already set a tone, that how do we make sure that education becomes more relevant? And how do we make sure that these startups and entrepreneurs worldwide tap onto something which they might have actually underestimated? And I'm going to talk about something which is also quite relevant, considering the way how internet, smartphone, mobile penetration is reaching worldwide market. Before we start talking about what I call last mile digital, I'll quickly also talk about, I am managing director for ATechnos. As you already mentioned, we are an 8-year-old organization, primarily work with various clients worldwide, and help them adopting digital technologies and digital transformation platforms. One of the subsidiary that we started in 2017 as a stealth mode of ATechnos is called Almond. Almond stands for activating last mile on digital. But what is a last mile, which is very important for all of us to know. And to talk about it, I have a story to share. In 2019, for a field visit, I happened to visit a very deep rural village in Jaipur Grameen. Okay, and I happened to meet someone called Babu Ramji, and this is the image with me, Babu Ramji and me. What I found is very interesting. He was around at the age of 75. The village name was Kuda, and it was under Jaipur rural, and he was listening to news online. I was very surprised that 75-year-old age person in a deep rural village is listening to news online. And it was not a big phone. It was a smart feature phone, like those Jio wala phone of 1599 rupees. Okay, I could not, my curiosity keep on irking me inside. So I went and asked him. So I spoke to him. So he started speaking in Hindi, primarily tutti frutti Hindi and more of a Rajasthani language. I was surprised because this person does not even know English. And so I asked him, Ki Dadaji, and for everyone who understand Hindi, it will be easy. So I asked, Dadaji, ये phone कहाँ से मिला? And आप ये news कैसे सुन रहे हैं? So I asked this gentleman that, sir, where did you find this phone? And how did you find the news? So I was surprised with his answer. So he said that there is a mobile shop nearby. So he purchased the phone from there at 1199 rupees or something like that. And the mobile shop owner actually told him that along with this, you will also get 6 months internet free, right? One point to be noted. Then along with that, he said that there was some government scheme running on which this person, if he'll enroll, he'll get 1,000 rupees instant in his account, probably in a few days, if not instant. So in turn, Babu Ramji thinks that he got this phone plus 6 months internet for 199 rupees. Okay, welcome to the new India. And when it happens, effectively, he said that, okay, the cost to me is 200 rupees. So I was very surprised. I said, that's a brilliant business mindset of a farmer like him. And in the end, I asked them, you haven't still answered me. How did you find the news? Okay, you got the internet, you got the phone. So he said, the shop owner also told him or guided him how to use voice assistant. So now Babu Ramji doesn't have to type. He will just say, voice assistant, Madam ji, aaj ki taja khabar suna do. And as soon as he says that, the news comes. And this is exactly what you search it on your Google or smartphone or anything. You say taja khabar and you see live news coming on your portal. Now that's where I want to talk about something called last mile digital. Lot of people underestimated the power of last mile, especially when they're empowered with digital. And this is what a huge opportunity for anyone, not just in India. India is now, seen as leader to many countries. Look at Africa, look at Southeast Asia. These countries look up to India to see what we are doing, how we are adopting things, so that they can learn from us and they can somehow, enable those services in those countries. India is very fast and very far, ahead from these countries. Those are still developing, though India is still developing country, but our adoption rate is quite surprising in terms of what we adopt. So what is last mile digital and why it is important for anyone, not just in India, worldwide? I'll take an example of India, being an Indian. If you look at Indian landscape, or I would call rather Indian mobile/digital landscape, we have almost 1 billion plus mobile phone users, which is, almost, we are, I think, in the top 3 worldwide in terms of the total mobile users. And out of those 1 billion mobile phone users, we still have only 60% of these mobile phone users who use platforms like Facebook, Insta, Twitter, probably WhatsApp, etc. And that also means that if I have to divide this entire ecosystem into a iceberg, which we call almond iceberg, all miles of digital iceberg, then you would see that the 450 million smartphone users are just little bit more than the tip of the iceberg. There is still 150 million users like Babu Ramji who are using something which is very low cost, as well as has some internet facilities, of course, not everything. And then there's huge 400 million, total 40 crore also users who are still on the standard keypad tone based phones. They do not access internet. And if I have to divide these various, companies who are using that, so of course we all know, oh, I love Apple, right? I love probably some other OnePlus or Samsung. But just to let you know, there is also many other phone users who you haven't even heard about. For example, do you know Gioni? Do you know Carbon, Intel, Infocus? These are the brands which are running the rural India in one way or another. And also similarly, in terms of what applications they use. So of course, WhatsApp is the top chart, 40 crore or even more users. But at the same time, there are also other applications which are being used. I love ShareChat. I love those kind of apps which are talking about regional vocab and all those sort of things. But with said that, there is a very important piece, which is all of these 100 crore phone users are using phone to call someone, to talk to someone, to text someone, or whenever they are calling, they are listening something called CRBT. Right now, you might listen, कोरोना से हमको, बचाव के उपाय जो हमारी महिला मित्र बताती है जब भी हम किसी को कॉल करते हैं. So that is where India also, that is also one area which is where brands as well as new entrepreneurs and companies need to focus. Now, if I have to divide this iceberg into 2 segments, one would be online, of course, someone who has access to internet in one way or another, and other would be offline. Offline are those users who are primarily, at home or not using internet on their phones or laptops. So now if I have to consider, and this is where we identified a big gap, and which is also a huge opportunity for upcoming startups as well as companies to, fill those gaps here, that brands or real money spenders, marketers have different sets of expectations from these 2 different segments. So for example, from the 600 million, like 60 crore online users, brands, they want to not just interact with them on Facebook or social media, they also want them to come, to encourage them to visit their offices or to visit their stores or to attend their events. Of course, if you just set aside the pandemic, which has totally changed our expectation in the last 6 months, but still now offices are open, and showrooms are open, malls are open, keeping all the hygienic and safe distance in mind. Still the brands want that, okay, you come and take some experience from us. And once they are visiting these places, brand also want them to talk about the brands on online social media platforms or online their digital communities. We call it online to offline and then offline to online, which is where O2O comes in picture. Now, similarly, for those 40 crore people who are not online or right now currently offline, brand somehow wants to get in touch with them, right? because these 40 crore users will be using internet tomorrow. And when they are going to use it, brands want to make sure that first thing that they search is the name of that brand. So how do they do that? That's where brands digitally want to interact with them, collect their data and preferences. And then once they have interacted, brands continuously want them to, talk about the brand in their digital communities, in those chopals, at their home, etc., etc., etc. So we call it offline to online, and then online to offline. So we call it offline to online to offline. Now, these are the two sets of expectation. So that means the opportunity here is that if you divide the entire country into two segments, brands are looking for some sort of seamless engagement opportunity with the 1 billion users. And that's where exactly, whether it's with internet or without internet, it needs to be seamless. This is exactly what last mile digital is about. So I'm going to talk about quickly, and I will wrap it up quickly because I want to make sure that we hear more about the other sustainable development goals from the five exciting members that we have on panel.
We want to hear you more. It's been
Okay.
so interesting on my watch party and Facebook. Everybody is telling it is wonderful. They're very happy.
Okay,
Everybody is
great.
enjoying this. So take your time. Take your time. Don't rush.
Okay, great. So then what is last mile digital? Thank you, Dr. Sharma. That means a lot. What is last mile digital? Last mile digital is nothing. It's a perfect balanced amalgamation of digital and technology to create engagement. Now, I will keep on focusing on the word engagement with any last mile customer. Okay, that's what last mile digital is. But in order to achieve what we are trying to focus and say as a last mile digital, it cannot be done without the hyper local content. Because for me, I speak Hindi. I would love to know if someone is speaking in Hindi, and in fact, if brand can talk to me in Hindi, or if someone is in Tamil. My sister lives in Chennai, and she would love to hear anything in Tamil. She doesn't prefer Hindi, she doesn't prefer English, but she wants to know if the brands can talk. So hyper local, which is the local vernacular, will play a major role here. And with or without internet, which is very important. I may have 4G internet availability, but my other friends in rural India might not have. So that means digital and technology engagement in hyper local language on any phone. That's exactly what last mile digital stands for. And I will also talk about how we can actually fill this gap very seamlessly. So last mile digital stands for engaging and converting last mile users. But who are these last mile users, right? So I told you that last mile user could be, for brands, it could be their trade partners like distributors, retailers, shop owners. For other brands, it could be their influencers like painters, masons, carpenter. Dr. Sharma, tell me, last time, when did you go and bought a paint box? You never, you will not, because you will call Ram Kumar painter and say, Ram bhai, aake ghar ka paint kar dena, right? So then Ram bhai or Ram painter became the influencer. He will say, sir, use this brand or do not use this brand. Use this putty and this putty is not good. Use this damping solution or this damping solution is not good. That means for the brand, you might be the consumer or the end user, but the last mile user is someone else. It could be the painter, it could be a mason, or it could be a carpenter, it could be mechanic, anyone. And then finally, you are also a last mile user because you might also buy a few things. Like for example, I order something online for Amazon or for that brand. I am the last mile user. I go and buy something from Chachaji's shop in my neighborhood. So that's offline. So I am also a last mile user for them. Or I could search online or buy offline. So I became a last mile hybrid user. So there are three sets of last mile users if you look at it. And how do we actually connect all of these things together to create a seamless engagements? And that is where the core pillars of last mile digital will come in picture. The first and most important pillar is a digital community of painters, community of drivers, community of retailers, community of like-minded game players, community of bullet drivers, community of NASA enthusiasts, community of gamers. Everything is a digital community. If brands have to think about how do I reach out to them, they need to think of creating digital communities, which is the first most important pillar. Second is hyperlocal content. I cannot talk more about it. Everyone loves to hear the content in their own native language. I lived in US. I love to hear still the things in Hindi. I lived in Delhi. I still love to hear things in Hindi. I lived in Bangalore. I still love to hear things in Hindi. That's exactly how we all behave. That's how the human thinks and tend to believe. Then instant gratification. Sir, your time, my time, everyone's time is very important. And gone are the days when they used to apply for a coupon and the lucky draw used to happen after a year, and then one out of nowhere will win a car or something like that. Those days are gone. People are no more looking forward to wait for the gratification. They want chat mangni pat byah. They want instant gratification in any way possible. And that's where we also developed something called unified gratification platform, which allows user to instantly gratify with 300 or so partners that we have connected with. Finally, because it's digital, it is going to be 100% measurable. If someone clicked on your ad, did they came and buy? If someone watched your YouTube video, did they eventually came and commented and talked to you about it and then discussed about the product you talked about or anything? So that means because the entire ecosystem is built on technology, everything is measurable. We have 50, probably 500 people watching this webinar. If one person will come and eventually say, I love this concept and I would like to know how can I do something in my company for last mile digital, I would instantly measure that every webinar will give me 50 leads. I would love to do 500 webinars every month. So that's how it is. That's how it works. That means it's measurable. But very and most important thing is that it needs to be simplistic experiences. Sir, you have used, I'll give a better example. In the world before Zoom, there was Cisco WebEx, there was GoToMeeting, there was GoToWebinar, and hundreds. Still we have, many other. Why did people love Zoom? The only reason is simplicity. Simplicity. And that's what we need to think of. When we think of consumer experience, it is not about what all you are offer. It comes secondary, but how simple it is to use it, to engage with it. That's where the building simplistic mobile platforms comes in picture. These are the pillars. So if you have to think of last mile digital and keep two types of people in mind. One is like Babu Ramji, who is living in a very deep rural village. Whether he is going to use your services, it should be as simple, Madam Ji, aaj ki taja khabar suna do, as simple as this. Or someone like me who's living in a high rise in Gurgaon and using internet 24/7, and speaking in English all the time. For me also, it should be as simple as just click and I'm live. That is where the core pillars come in picture. So as I was mentioning, what are these digital communities? We worked with various brands to create communities, right? A digital community could be of drivers or ASHA workers. You're talking about hygiene and women empowerment and all those sort of things. Retailers, how do we talk about these retailers? Can I create a community of them? Or painters? Similarly, what we have also tried to learn is that it is very important to get content created in the native language that you want to speak. So we also partnered with 20,000 plus professional videographers in the country who can create content, and 500 plus studios who can create content in to the dialect level language, not even just the vernacular, but also if someone wants Bundelkhandi, Malvi, or even Khadi Boli, us language maybe they can get the content created. And most importantly, now the world is moving towards short format content. People don't want to watch a video of 5 hours and then say, oh, it was a great story, right? That is the reason why even on the OTT platforms, now they are creating episodes of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, no advertisements, and then you just go through that. It needs to be highly relevant and with high engagement. That means it needs to engage immediately. So these are a few things. And finally, it has to be through a measurable medium. So for example, what we have created is for people who have internet or do not have internet, we have created some solutions. Some of these are very basic solutions like SMS integrated platforms or IVR integrated platforms, basic mobile apps, value added services, social media integrations. But we have also worked with various telecom operators to curate some very interesting solutions. So for example, in one of the African country, we are working with a telecom operator so that anytime when someone calls the other person, he will get an option to hear saying, would you like to hear an advertisement from a brand? And in return, we'll give you 30 minutes of extra talk time this month. Now that is how you can actually create very innovative services, which is truly made for last mile. So, in India, we are literally paying pennies for internet and everything, but in other countries, you pay a lot of money. The charges are almost 10 or even 100 times more than what we are paying in India for similar services. And still we continue to complain that things are not working. But let me tell you, when you live in Western countries or Europe, we will realize, I mean, I have lived those dreams, so I can certainly tell that. So we have also developed those kind of services. Now, adaptability is very important. Before COVID, we were always thinking of creating engagement and physical events. Now, after COVID, what we have learned is that there is a huge potential and opportunity for virtual events. We are also part of a one very basic virtual event, but how do we also create some very interesting platforms? So we also launched something called Vertex. Vertex is 100% made in India virtual event and experiences platform. We were very proud to work with India's leading media houses as well as various marketing companies and various brands who are organizing their immersive and quite interactive virtual events on Made in India Almond Vertex platform. So with that, what I would like to also add is that while we have talked about digital communities, we have talked about hyperlocal content, we have talked about measurable mediums, the entire ecosystem is not complete without an opportunity to gratify the end users in in an instant format. And that is where we should also keep in mind that India, you know uh, uh, Indian wallet companies claims that there are 40 crore wallet users in India, there are 10 plus crore UPI users in India, and of course on top of it there are 20 also various payment gateways. There are also 300 companies, as I mentioned to you, we have partnered with, who can give us instant coupons. So let's say you run a campaign or you ran some nationwide initiative and you want to gratify. Now you don't want to send a I'll give a very good example. आज से 10 साल पहले क्या होता था सर कि किसी को हमको कुछ गिफ्ट देना होता था तो उस पर एमआरपी लिखा रहता था 199 रुपए, लेकिन गिफ्ट का रेट होता था 99 रुपए और प्रॉब्ली 49 rupees only, right? Now those days are gone. Okay, you cannot just put MRP of 11.99 and in the box you cannot have something of 99 rupees. So people are preferring more digital gratification than the physical gratification. It saves time, it gets delivered instantly, and there is a huge opportunity for end users also to instantly cashify it, to by purchasing things and all. So we created something which is called instant gratified in matter of seconds, not even minutes, so that everything is on in their wallet in matter of seconds, or in their mobile phone or apps or something like this. So with that, what we have also figured out, and I've mentioned to you very interesting stories as well as interesting pillars how this can be done. What are the other opportunities that startup ecosystem, or people who are watching it worldwide, people who are seeing it live on international platforms, that think of last mile virtual meets? Right now I'm still talking about people who have access to internet, but people who do not have access to internet, how do you create a virtual event for them? What is that platform that we can use? We have created something called a Mobile Pe Charcha, which is a work that we did for a paint brand in country. And what we learned is that these painters have almost 95% smartphone now, and other 5% are still using the basic no internet phone. And how do we interact with them? Can we create something like that for them? Interactive engagement, it cannot be just one way, it needs to be two-way interaction. Whenever a brand or whenever a company is trying to create any kind of interaction with these end users, that's where the real eureka is. Phygital, now that's another very interesting keyword that I want to talk about. Phygital means anything which was physical, and now you are trying to convert it into a digital thing. And how do we create that digital engagement? Loyalty runs a long way. As I mentioned, that there is a difference in a customer and a client. A customer might just come and go. A client will stay with you for long time. That is where loyalty comes in picture. There is a huge opportunity in the country as well as worldwide in all development countries to create sustainable and very engaging loyalty platforms. Instant gratification, I already talked about. And in the end, you have to have a digital community that revolves around your brand, that talks about your brand and then reaches to the masses. So if I have to talk about the 4 keywords, the top would be urban, which is the rural, which is turning to be urban. O2O, which is offline to online to offline or vice versa. WoW, which is with or without internet. Now it doesn't matter if I have internet or I don't have. And then IOC, which is my favorite, Internet of Communities or Internet of Digital Communities. Now that's all I had to talk about. I've talked about what last mile digital is. ATechnos, which is my company, and Almond, which is a subsidiary of ATechnos, is a leading company who talks and create these kind of platforms and solutions worldwide. So of course, my details are on the screen. If anyone wants to know more about it or wants to have a conversation, we can certainly discuss in detail. That is all I wanted to talk about. I think I've taken more than what I was expected to take time. But yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Sharma. Really appreciate it. And with that, I would like to hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mind blowing, mind blowing. Everybody enjoyed so much, and so many watch parties and so many inputs are coming, and people are writing your words only. Highly relevant, highly engaging, adaptability, virtual events. Now there are some queries. People want to know that platform. If you could little bit explain on that, the virtual platform you have got. Some of the corporate, in case if they want to have a program, what exactly is it for the display? Is it for the conference? Is it for the trade fair? What exactly is the kind of thing?
It's for all three, sir. It's for all three. So the
Okay.
kind of campaigns that we have run or the work that we have done, we have had product launches on the platform, which has gone live to hundreds of thousands of users. We have had virtual conferences on the platform, which is a day long or even up to 5 days long conference. Recently, Business World, which is a leading media house in the country, ran a 5 days long Indian hospitality or hotelier awards on our platform, on which we had almost 50 plus sessions and 300,000 lots of viewers interacted with that. And then of course, for the exhibitions, just imagine we on the platform can take your Pragati Maidan experience to a mobile screen or to a 14-inch laptop screen. That's the platform it can do. So we can of course do all those sort of things, virtual conferences, virtual exhibitions, product launches and webinars and whatnot.
Okay. Is it available on your website? Somebody is asking this.
Yes, absolutely. They can search for Almond Vertex, ALMOND Vertex, VIRTEX. If you search on Google, of course, it's all available.
My humble request, some of the people, those speak Spanish, because they have joined from Peru, Chile, Costa Rica, and one of my president is based over there. So थोड़ा सा slow जाइए, because
absolutely sir.
वाले को दोबारा repeat कर दीजिए एक बार दोबारा.
Sure.
हाँ जी.
Sure. It spells out like this. It's ALMOND.
Okay.
Almond Vertex. It's VIRTEX.
Okay. So if they just go on these two words, they'll be able to reach your website.
Absolutely. That's the first result they will see on Google.
Okay. Okay. That is one thing. Secondly, somebody wanted that the last which you have repeated, it is basically from UK, Dr. Barbara. She's asking, she's based out of Guildford, and she's asking if you could kindly tell him if he can explain, because he went too fast on RURBANO2O2. So if
Sure.
you just If you
Sure.
want, you can share that slide also again. There's no harm. Our choice is yours. Choice is
No,
yours.
no, absolutely. I will share that. That's not a
Because
problem.
my aim is that audience should be happy. They should be very happy.
No, no, absolutely, sir. Absolutely. This is what I shared.
They enjoy
Uh,
it. And if you can go a little slow in this.
Sure. So Rurban stands for rural, which is turning to be urban.
Okay.
That means in India, at the rate of 33% uh, uh, rural population is adopting internet and smartphone year over year. That means every third person next year will have a smartphone which is right now does not have either access to internet or a smartphone in rural community. That means the new all the brands need to think about creating those people as their brand asset already. Second is O2O, which is online to offline and then offline to online. And it's also vice versa. That means offline to online and then online to offline. WoWi is very important. It's with or without internet. So it doesn't matter if the end user, if the last mile user has internet or does not have internet. And then, which is my favorite, is IOC. IOC stands for Internet of Communities. These are the digital communities which brands are looking forward to build. So, for example, if I am a kids food brand, I would like to build a community of moms so that these mothers, when they buy food for their kids, the brand is in the top of the mind recall. That is what I meant to say.
Wonderful. There's a lady called Madam Julie. She has written, sir, please bring such more sessions. We really need knowledge in this digital online era to overcome digital disruptions. And then she writes, does Mr. Jain have something seamless to be given to northeast part of India, which doesn't have good connectivity?
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for bringing it up, ma'am.
Julie, ma'am.
Julie, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. I was just missing the name.
She'll feel happy because if you mention the name.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing up this question, Julie, ma'am. Uh, See, not just northeast of India, in the entire country, as I mentioned, currently still 40% of the users do not have access to internet. And even if they have access to internet, they do not have mobile phones which supports internet. That means brands or even companies or people like us need to bring those kind of solutions which can still reach out to those people and somehow engage with them. Keeping in mind the current ecosystem, SMS is the best approach, but you can still use interactive voice response, which is IVR services, as well as we can create some phygital experiences for those people, which is where we work with various kind of activation agencies who use digital technologies to create those experiences for those people who either have limited access, limited connectivity, or no access to internet.
Okay. Mr. Vikas Malhotra, he's a NRI. At present is downtown Ontario from Mississauga. And his question is that Vertex, which you have mentioned, VIRTEX, is it
Yes.
something like Zoom?
No, no, it's way more than that.
Okay.
So you can think of Vertex is a end-to-end platform to host virtual conferences, virtual exhibitions, as well as product launches. Zoom is just primarily a video conferencing platform over the internet. My my Vertex platform, or not just mine, there was a team of 30 people who are working day and night on that. Our Vertex platform allows you to create engaging experiences, interactive experiences, and product showcases, and plus these kind of Zoom type of sessions as well.
Okay. There's somebody from British Columbia, and they're telling can he show a slide or something of that virtual tour or virtual program, whatever you have organized this expo or a conference from your Vertex. Can you show something of that?
Yeah, I cannot
Slide,
access that from
slide.
my home phone or home laptop. But yeah, certainly, if I can have the email ID or uh, uh, probably a contact number of the gentleman or the ma'am, we
Uh,
can certainly, show a specific demo, or probably Dr. Sharma, we can organize a next session sometime just to talk about Vertex.
uh, they are really keen about it, because at this point of time, everybody has appreciated one thing which you have mentioned, that everybody wants simplicity, and the Zoom has become popular as compared to 100 other platforms because of seamless and very simplicity.
Correct.
You just log in and you go for. So people are very keen about it, and there are a couple of them. Those are just sending in their watch party to me. I would say it's highly appreciable. People have enjoyed, and they say our hunger is not yet over. Can he give us some more information? Our hunger is not. Those are watching us over here in webinar. If you have got any question, you can take on. I've got one or two more things to share with you. And meanwhile,
Sure.
in case if something pours in, then I can take it on.
Sure.
Abhinavji, what do you suggest in today's new education policy? This, okay, somebody is writing, could you request him to give his website? So www.almond.solutions. Okay, is that the website I should tell?
Yeah, they can go to this, or let me also add one more website here so that it's easy for
You
everyone.
can write in the chat box, we can send from there, or you can write on your own. Yes, you can give over there also.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just do that so that it's easy for everyone. So for anyone who wants to know more about Vertex, they can go to www.virtex.in.
Okay.
They can go here. This is the easiest one, and you'll get all the information about the product that you were looking for.
Pratap Singh ji, for you in Peru, I will just repeat, because sometimes you say he has written www.virtex.in. Okay, fine. So that also goes. Now, today's education, the new education policy which has come in India, what do you suggest over there? What should be done, particularly when we are talking about coding right from 6th standard? We are talking about the education to become more vocational, education to become more practical, where we got to give more emphasis on skills and competencies. What would you like to suggest? What is your input? Because children are very happy. If I give you one secret, you'll be surprised to know the data what we are gathering from world over, from different countries. Of course, there's a digital divide. We understand everybody doesn't have the seamless connectivity, and some of the people do not have the basic equipment or a basic instrument or a basic gadget also. And some of the families are also facing a challenge where there's only one mobile, and if there are 3 kids in the family or 2 kids in the family, and parents also to work on, so they got to pass on to each other. But at the same time, where there is good connectivity and where children have got basic phone or basic facility, I would say it's a mind blowing. They say we are more happy in the digital education than what was happening in the 4 walls. That is the kind of an input which is coming from the millennials, and they are more happy with the technology, innovation, creativity, and new pedagogy and innovative ways of teaching, learning, whatever is going on. So what is your take on to that as far as the new education policy of India is concerned?
So that's a very relevant question right now. Before I answer that, I want to share a story. I'm a man of stories. I've,
Sure.
living across various countries and various cities, what I learned is that more you can tell better stories, the more you can explain the things to the world. My daughter is born in the US. And one of the thing when I was in US, I always loved about the experiential learning methodology. That means, I also had 2 nephews, you know, uh, and they used to go to school, but I've never seen the stress that I have faced when I was a kid on their faces, that, okay, I have a test tomorrow or I have an exam which is happening. And I was always surprised with that did I miss something, or only I was the man, who was not able to, I was the kid who was not able to, take the stress. And what I used to do is I used to volunteer to go to their school to just understand the patterns and things like that. What I learned is that they started their day, they used to go to practicals, and these practicals were literally robotic practicals, or creating things, making things happen. Probably out of 5 hours in the school, probably only 1 hour they were sitting in front of a computer screen, or reading something, or a teacher is telling them to write what teacher is saying. So I was very surprised, and I always envisioned that this is what the education style should be. The more you learn practically is actually get ingrained into your neurons eventually, which translates into various types of energies in your body. So I think I'm very happy with the way how digital education is now getting ingrained into our culture. It is extremely important. One thing which is also equally important is that we as parents are taught to cram the things. Isko rat lo, isko ghoot. I remember my teacher used to say, isko ghota maar ke pee jao. Okay, now when I think of those keywords, I just laugh, as you are laughing, with my full heart, that probably I would have been a different person. Of course, I am very happy and I am very grateful and humble for my teachers, because whatever I am right now is because of my parents as well as my teachers, and they both played a very important role. But I am also now thinking that probably there is a better way to learn these things. I would have been doing certainly something else, probably even bigger than what I'm doing, if I would have done some more practicals in my early age, thought about why it is happening. I was never taught to ask questions. I was always said, this is how it is. But now my daughter is asking questions to me. She's saying why this needs to be done like this. And I'm very happy that this is what, we all should be thinking about. This is something that I loved about the US as well, which is where practicality, using digital technology, and learning things as we, knowing things as we learn is something very important. I feel that Indian education policy and the changes in it, moving towards practical knowledge or experiential knowledge, is a great step. It's a great step. And this reform is going to help country in a very, very long run. And as they say, if you want to know about the country, understand their education system. I'm very happy that, now the education system is moving towards a very, very, very futuristic approach.
Okay.
Kudos to the government on this.
Mr. and Mrs. Vivek Sinha, they're watching from Dubai, and they send their heartfelt greetings to you. They say, well said. And he's telling, I wish once again I joined the school in the present digital era.
True.
What is coming now in India? What is coming now in India?
True. I couldn't agree more. That's exactly what it is. And, I'm very happy that it had to happen. It took long, but now this is how it has happened. So I'm sure the next generation or the generation after will be hugely benefited. We always look up to, when I was in colleges, Dr. Sharma, I always wanted to study in the US. Not because, I was aware about the system and all. I was always aware that they focused more on the practicals. They focused more on the experiential knowledge. Now I'm sure that my daughter might not, think of this, because she will get that exposure here itself. The new education reform and these policies are going to help in a very big way.
Okay, there's a question from Madam Nyoi Nyodu. Madam Nyoi Nyodu, and she's asking a question: should gamification be the part of education system? Because she's telling, if you give a gadget in the hands of a small child, he or she will forget the food, but they just want to play and they will not disturb you. So do you feel, Mr. Jain, that gamification should be the integral part of the entire education ecosystem?
Okay, so I have a different point of view here.
Okay.
As much as I love gamification, I think there needs to be some balance. Okay. I am not saying that digital is great. I am saying experiential education system is great. Now, in the experiential, it could be sometime for games, sometimes could be for learning, sometimes could be for, knowing more, doing practicals, and also now there are virtual practicals and all those sort of things are happening. So gamification should be part of it, but there should be equal importance given to physical gamification as well, not just mobile based or device based gamification. In my opinion, as much as we can amalgamate these two things in a balanced way, it will be great.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's well said, and it's so good. Do you feel that music plays very important role in education?
Okay, so no one can answer that better than me. To be very honest, I am a pianist. Instead of pianist, I can say I play keyboard.
Wow.
Uh, so when I used to do mathematics, I always played music. I could not just sit silent and in a silence mode, I could do mathematics. I always played music. So in my opinion, and I could be exceptional or probably not, but I always recommend that music heals you. Music is a companion that needs no inputs from you, but it just jammed with you in all sort of moments or all sort of moods. So music does play a very important role. I have two kids, and I would like both of my kids to love music and learn music.
Wow, that's very good. There's a lady called Seema Shah Singha. Very useful session. Thank you very much for organizing such a wonderful webinar. She's from the Department of the Commerce from Dibrugarh, University of Dibrugarh, Assam. So I'm going to say people really want to get something practical nowadays, and that's what you have given. We would require one more session subsequently sometime because people are very keen. We had a session with Dr. Munish Jindal, Dr. Munish Jindal, robotics, and he brought basically the virtual session, which was more on artificial intelligence. How do you look at artificial intelligence, Mr. Abhinav Jain? How do you look
Sir,
at that in education?
sir, I am fascinated with AI.
Okay.
And I always believe that as long as you use AI in a positive and managed direction, it's going to create wonders. As much as people are afraid of AI and what all it could do, I'm saying that think of the positive examples. If AI can tell you by looking at your face if someone has, a very horrible disease, earlier they can figure that out, you can save the life of that person. Use that example of AI, not that eventually robots will kill people and all. No, those are negative examples. Look at the best possible and best positive ways of AI. AI has changed, already has changed the way how we see things, and it will continue to improve our lives. In medical, opportunities are humongous. From taking those tests that used to take months, now taking it in minutes. Understanding those diseases or human architecture that used to take I don't know what, how many years and how many researches, now take minutes. What could be a better example of AI than this? Of course, we all need to be careful in terms of AI is all about data. AI is nothing, it's not God. The more it learns about you, the more better, better than the best it becomes. So of course I'm very positive about AI, and I do feel it has a lot of positive impact on our lives in future.
Okay, wonderful. The last question I'll take from Seoul. This is with regard to how do you plan to do the capacity building and development of the educators when millennials today are so well informed on the gadgets? How would you
So
like to educate the trainers or educators and teachers? And you, in a very polite way, mentioned sometime back Rota, Ratta mathematics and all that you were talking about. So, very politely, he has asked this question. Yeah.
सर एक पुराने ज़माने में कहावत है कि यदि आपको मोहल्ले की चोरी होने से बचानी है,
हाँ,
आप चोर को ही थानेदार बना दीजिए.
हाँ,
Right? My opinion is same. If
हाँ,
you want the education system to become better, you need to find out those culprits who still are saying that education system cannot be better, and teach them, guide them, advise them, and tell them that now you have to make it better. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is that these youngsters, probably my daughter, she's 6 years old, know how to run mobile better than me, because I'm just using 5 apps, but she does all in and out of those things that we do not even know. Now the same thing is, so if I tell her that don't use mobile, probably she will continue to use it, right? If I tell her that, no, don't do this, she will probably do that. Then the opportunity here is we guide her, we tell her what is the right thing to do, what is not the right thing to do. You cannot call someone, for example, you cannot do this thing, you cannot do that thing, and in the end she is the protector of my phone, so she takes care of my phone. Now that's exactly, we have the youngsters who are brilliant on mobile devices, all connected to internet. We should also involve them as much as we can. So those days are gone when you have to have, a 15 years old, 15 years of experienced teacher teaching you something about it. Now a 15-year-old person might know more than that teacher because he is surfing internet all the time. And they are also learning from these summaries. I have recently received a notification from a friend. He sent me a book which is a 140-page book that has summaries of 100 books.
Wow.
Now
Wow.
that means I may not, there is no way I will read those 100 books. I'll rather read a 1.5 page about every book, and I'll have a quick summary of the best point of those books.
Wow.
Similarly, these kids or these youngsters, they know a lot of things. Of course, the experience they do not have, but that is where my old teachers or the experience will come in picture, where the experience of the older generation and the energy of the younger generation can match it together and create a perfect balance of both of these two things together. That's how I think the world should move on in future too.
Wonderful, Mr. Abhinav Jain. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. It was very, very creative, innovative, stimulating, rewarding, and enriching, to the soul, to the spirit, to the mind, to the heart. And the way you talked about the technology, the way you talk about education empowerment. And now let's get these five kiddies together, and they will be with us, and they can share how to save water. So I think the first one this evening was to come, Dharani. Dharani, you were the first to come this evening. So let's have you quickly. Dharani,
Yes, sir. Am I seen?
yes,
Am I audible?
yes. I'm giving you
Right.
a privilege because you were the first to come at 6:42 in the evening. So
Thank you, sir.
I must give you that opportunity. Great. Go ahead, child. I hope you're fine. Everybody's fine.
Yes, sir. All fine.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Abhinav for giving such an enriching.
Let's
Uh,
clap for him. Let's clap. Let's clap
Thank
for
you.
him. Wonderful. Yes.
I love the concept of last mile digital. I think I would uh, message you or email you regarding the same.
Yes.
So I would be talking about how to conserve water in households.
Okay.
So the first thing what I have noticed in all of the household, I mean in my household for sure, that most of us don't use shower when we are bathing. So I would recommend all of them not to use shower because it consumes more water when compared to using buckets of water. And the second thing is, when you're using shower, please use shower head, which cuts down the water usage by 20,000 gallons per year. And the second thing is your aerator in your water taps, which mixes your air bubbles into water stream. Just to get some pressure into the water, so there's a difference between normal tap water and the aerator tap water. Then the third thing which I would talk about is the low flow toilet, which actually uses only one third of the water usage. It is usually built in new building houses which are newly built. And now I would just tell a measure to how to save water. So first one is, don't use your western toilets or commodes as your trash can, because the more you use that, the wastage of water is there in it. Then please install rainwater harvesting in all your households. When you're talking about drought states, then I think you will have to conserve water in a better way to look after the conservation of water. Then I would talk about reduce the time you use while you're showering. So rather than having like 15 minutes of bath, you can cut down 2 minutes, and that would make a great impact in saving water. Then people usually waste the water which they collect while getting the hot water, which as the hot water takes lot of time to flow down the tap, so they usually waste down that water and they don't use it to water plants or water for the household things. So I would request them to store that water and use it in your gardens or use it for your household chores. Then I would talk about the wastewater, not wastewater, the hard water, which is usually thrown out from the RO purifiers, which is used for your drinking water. So I would request them, all of them, to use this water, the hard water, in your household chores, and you can also wash your cars with it. Like you people usually do a weekly washing of cars, so people can use that to wash their cars. And then I would also tell them to store a little bit of water while washing fruits or vegetables, and not to wash the fruits or vegetables in running water. Store it in a vessel, and I think that would make a great impact in saving the water. So I would conclude this with, uh, since sir had told Jal hi Jeevan hai. So I would conclude it with that, telling use water efficiently, since water is very precious, most importantly in this situation we are in.
God bless you, child. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences. You came first, so I gave you the first opportunity. Now, second up
Thank you,
had
sir.
come Kartika. Kartika, you had come at number 2. So we extend you a warm welcome. Share your experiences. I hope you're fine. Your family, your friends, your neighbors, everybody over there. Okay, greatly,
Uh,
child. Come on, go ahead.
yes. So, am I audible and
You,
visible?
you are perfectly audible and visible to the whole world. Go ahead.
Okay. So I will be talking about how water conservation efforts are taken in small villages, and I will talk about Maharashtra since I'm from there.
Okay.
So Maharashtra is quite prone to droughts, and therefore there's a lot of water shortages that are seen. So a lot of NGOs, for example, Pani Foundation, which is led by Amir Khan, an actor from our country. So he helped a lot of districts, mainly like three districts from in Maharashtra. So he came up with the idea of having a championship sort of thing to bring the villages together and for them to take efforts and save water. So they planned a budget and they tried to save water as much as possible, and they used government funds if required. And whoever got selected from the winning villages were trained for using watershed management so that they can help their villages and maybe go on to help other villages in other states. So there are a lot of model villages as well. Like there's Hivre Bazaar, which is they used contour hill trenches to build so that they can conserve rainwater. So since rain is quite abundant and naturally given by our mother nature, it's our duty to use that as well as a source of water. So they use that and help them with agriculture. Therefore, their irrigation facilities improved, so thereby improving um, the amount of money or the number of suicides that farmers were committing reduced drastically because of that. And now, because of all of these measures they've taken, they've been drought free for quite a long time. And they even drafted their own 5-year plan to save water. The next one I'd like to talk about is Patoda in Aurangabad, which is a small area in Maharashtra. They used mandatory water meters in every toilet. So after a particular point, they know that they're wasting too much water. So that way, you every day's usage of the washroom or the toilet came with like they would have some certain thought process that okay, this much water is going, so maybe save more in other activities. And every drop of water was audited, and the village sewage water was recycled and again used for their crops. thereby helping improve their agriculture and irrigation facilities. And even government has been helping with all the villages. They recently they recently came up with the Jal Yukt Shivar, which was discontinued though. It aimed to bring 5,000 villages out of drought and help them with water supply. So small efforts like this by NGOs or just by villages themselves will help in a long run, because water, again, as everyone knows, is quite an important source of living. So being an agrarian country, we need the source of um, money, because that's part of our GDP. So saving water will help the farmers as well as our country. So small efforts like this will create a big impact. So that's all I'll be talking about.
you,
Thank
Pavitra.
you.
Thank you. You get the blessings all the way from International Buddhist Confederation Secretary General, Venerable Dr. Dhammapiya. He says, how such a small little child can know so much, and she has done so much of work on Maharashtra and on water saving and water utilization. So
Thank you so
all,
much.
all the blessings to you, child. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
So after you this evening, Rajeshwari had joined. So let's get Rajeshwari now on the platform. Rajeshwari, let's share your thought process with everybody, child, so that you can tell everyone what is your vision on water saving.
Good evening, sir, and to everyone present in this meeting. I'm actually a culinary arts student. I'm very honored to be a part of this webinar. We all know water plays a very essential role in our lives, but how do we encourage people to reuse and save water? That's like a big question mark. Interestingly, Bangalore Water Supply and Sewage Board has proposed an award called Jalarushi Puraskar, where every citizen and institutions who have implemented rainwater harvesting, proper use of water and reuse of treated water in their houses, apartments, commercial buildings, schools and colleges, hospitals, industrial buildings, hotels and government buildings can apply for this award. Mr. Tushar Girinath, chairperson of BWSSB, said, "We want to honor people who have implemented rainwater harvesting, use water properly, and reuse treated water. These awards will motivate them to respect source of energy." Some more senior members of the BWSSB said that this is a great step and it will motivate many to work towards saving water. There is an award for every field. Why not recognize common people for being responsible citizen? So every citizen, every city should award their people for the same. I mean, who doesn't like awards and appreciation? This is one way to inspire and create awareness among common people and motivate every individual to do their bit in conserving water. This is my minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Beta.
Please see
Thank
if
you,
I'm
child.
mentioned.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Kaveshwari. Kavyashri. 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 Are you there?
Hello.
Are you there?
Hello.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. Please come.
Good evening, sir. There's something wrong with my camera. Just 1 minute.
No worries.
Yes,
No
can you
worries.
hear me now?
No, yes, perfectly fine, child.
Good
Perfectly fine.
evening, sir.
God bless you. I hope your parents, everybody at home, all are fine.
Yes, sir. I hope the same with you also.
Let's have your thought process. Let's have your
Um, this webinar was so inspiring and helpful. And more than all of that, it
let's clap.
imbibed a
Let's clap.
sense of hope in us. It imbibed the sense of hope in us that there's so much going around the world and so much positivity around, even through such difficult times. I would like to bring a very different view to water conservation. I mean, we've all written a lot of essays in schools and 5-mark questions. Why is water conservation important? How can we all bring it in our houses? A different viewpoint, the same, is I'm sure there's such a trending topic in food scenes, veganism. And the veganism is so important in so many different aspects. And the real solution to water scarcity lies in agriculture. About 90% of a global water footprint relates to food. Says water Footprint Network founder Arjun Y. Hoksatra, who's the PhD and the creator of the water footprint concept. A calorie of meat requires 10 times as much water to produce as a calorie of food crops. As the world's growing middle classes actually eat more meat, the Earth's water resources will be dangerously squeezed. Fresh water is a limited resource that is being used and polluted faster than it is sustainable. Animal consumption accounts for the majority of humanity's water footprint, yet plant-based diets slash this footprint significantly. There's no need to wait for water catastrophe to adopt a plant-based diet, and there's no need to exploit and slaughter animals at all societies in abundance. I mean, we don't need to wait till the day there's no more water left to actually start taking steps towards it. Animal agriculture is also responsible for more water pollution than all the industrial sources combined. It taints our streams, rivers, oceans, and can spread diseases to animals and humans. According to a 2009 report by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, an estimated 70% of India's surface water, as well as an increasing percentage of our groundwater, is contaminated by animal waste and runoff from pesticides and fertilizers used on feed crops. India's meat industry generated 3.5 million tons of wastewater in 2007 alone, which is nearly 100 times as much wastewater as our sugar industry produces, and 150 more times than fertilizers manufacturing. Waste from animal agriculture also causes dead zones in the ocean, areas where there is not enough oxygen to support aquatic life. It's a loophole. We consume more water, and by doing so, we don't even have enough left to sustain life, which grows in water. I just think it's a very different viewpoint than we mostly hear about water conservation, and it's something we can give a thought to. Thank you so much for giving me this time to talk.
Wonderful. God bless you, child. Wonderful, wonderful suggestion. Kavya, great evening. Good evening, child. Hearty welcome to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening, child. Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
I hope everybody is fine at home. Everybody's okay.
Yeah, I hope everybody's fine with you as well.
God is very kind, beta. Come on, please go ahead.
Okay, so one of the ways that I think we can conserve water is through rainwater harvesting, especially in like apartment buildings, office buildings, as well as college campuses. So rainwater harvesting in apartments as well as gated communities is something that is already being done in most areas of Bangalore. So it's been made compulsory by the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewage Board. So this was implemented in 2011, where they put out an act which stated that buildings built since 2009, measuring 1200 feet and above, and buildings built before 2009, measuring 2400 feet and above, should have rainwater harvesting systems, and there are penalties if the act isn't followed. Now, I think that this is a major step because Bangalore, one of our main surface water stores are lakes, but the lakes have been heavily polluted. So I think rainwater harvesting is very important. Where I live, which is a gated community, it's a small gated community, but we've implemented rainwater harvesting. So one of the systems we have is a rainwater harvesting store where the rainwater is collected and we use this rainwater to water the gardens, to wash the cars. And in monsoons, when that rainwater store is filled, we use that water, chlorinate it, and use it for our pool. Another part of that is we have recharge wells. So these are wells dug in the ground. It is then covered by mesh so that pollutants and leaves cannot go into it. On top of that, there are concrete slabs with gaps in them, so the water can seep through it and recharge the water table that has been depleting. I think that it has made a difference, and especially in areas that experience heavy monsoons, if rainwater harvesting can be done in college campuses, office buildings, as well as residents, it's going to make a huge difference. Yeah, thank you.
Great, wonderful. Thank you, beta. Thank you. Such a wonderful pleasure to have all of you this evening and sharing your thought processes, how to save water, water harvesting, what all measures can be taken. It was very, very innovative and creative from your side. We are going to take these suggestions and finally we are carrying out the synthesis, and then we come out with the final white paper which we submit to the Ministry of Water Resources, Government of India. So ladies and gentlemen, let's have the final word from Mr. Abhinav Jain, and then we close today's program. He's right over here at the center stage, and what a pleasure to have you and to share your vision. And let's say the final word from your side: new education policy 2020, education empowerment, education ecosystem empowerment, technology, innovation, creativity, and research, what all the future is coming through. And what would you like to tell all the youngsters, all the teachers, and everybody world over, whatever you would like to tell from your side, how they should equip themselves, how they should prepare, and what exactly has happened in India due to this COVID-19, what was to come in phases after 5 years, after 7 years, after 10 years. It came like a tsunami, and everybody had to switch over overnight from the four bricks walls, and they went digital, and they were finding how to match up and patch up and whatever best to be done. But educators are also warriors like doctors, nurses, and paramedical people. So final word from your side: making education relevant.
Thank you so much. I think it was very enlightening discussion today from everyone. Not just you and me, but I think all of the youngsters, Dharani, Kartika, and all of them. I can just see their name. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of other three people.
Yeah.
But these were very interesting thoughts and very enlightening ideas that they have shared. In fact, I was noting some of these. I lived in Bangalore, so I know the ecosystem very well out there. And I could actually relate to what she was saying.
Okay.
Now, from the education and I'm sorry, I have got a 6-month-old sitting next to me, so you might hear a little bit of
Let's
noise.
enjoy, Haji.
So I would say that three things that we need to think about is that over the last 6 months, we have developed habits, and these habits are going to stay with us forever. Now, the opportunity here is that how do we create those opportunities and turn those habits into the sea of opportunities to offer something not just for ourselves, not just for our family, but to the entire country, to the entire world, to the entire universe. That's my one piece. Second, I have firmly from the day I've got my senses believed in live and let live. So as long as we want to live happily with our families, with our friends, and of course with our communities, we should always look for the comfort of others as well, which is very important. Now, whether we are talking about saving water, it's not for others, it's end of the day, yes, for you as well as for others, and it is equally important. Third is that I am very much I'm very positive about the future, which is I'm very optimistic. I always see an opportunity in future, no matter what happens. This pandemic might not be the last one, and we have to accept it. We all will need to accept it. So are we getting ready for the next one? Probably in a month, probably in a year, probably in 10 years, probably in 100 years. But as we are moving towards future, we also need to be get ready, get fit, and get excited to whatever is going to come in our way. With that, I will again take a pause and thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for you, Dr. Sharma. I think it was unexpectedly delightful to be here. I was not expecting such an interesting session myself, but thank you so much for making it happen, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was such a pleasure to have you with us, and our blessings to your 6-year one and 6 months one. Let them enjoy. Future belongs to them, not to you and me.
I agree. I totally agree. Couldn't agree more.
And future belongs to all these kids. And may God bless everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and we look forward to many more such sessions in future in the coming times. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, signing off today, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. for the special session that is after 127 years of Swami Vivekanand ji, what he delivered in the Chicago. So tomorrow evening, don't forget. And from tomorrow, we are switching over to YouTube. So you will come on Dr. Gulshan Sharma's page and you'll come live on YouTube along with the Zoom, of course, webinar is there. You wish to come and register over here, you're more than welcome. But then at the same time, we also go live on the YouTube. With these words, thanks a lot. Stay well, stay safe. God bless the entire universe and world over in different countries. Green morning, green afternoon, green evening, wherever you are.